Hi, it's time for good energy. I'm Dr. Julian Rook. Welcome to Bodyful Day 167, Acid Reflux in the Senses. And today we're talking about the sense of smell. And we already talked about this briefly when we talked about the sense of touch, but I'm going to cover it today, and it's silent reflux. All right, so let's start with our basics. Go ahead and take a deep breath in and release. Go ahead, expand, 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 and tuck. Take a deep breath in. And release. And now think about any stress going on in your life. We're trying to get a basketball hoop for our kids, so that's been a little stressful. I'm going to take a deep breath in, you too. And release. All right, so welcome to the final day of acid reflux and the senses. And we've covered everything. And in fact, today's video we've actually already covered in the sense of touch, but I couldn't think of anything else to put in here. So alas, we are here. We're talking about acid reflux in the sense of smell. So remember the healing equation: energy to heal, energy to get rid of acid reflux, energy to make you feel better equals good energy and minus stressors. And we've talked about how acid reflux is definitely a stressor. We have talked about how to get some good energy in, and we've talked about how if we get enough good energy in, we actually have energy to heal our acid reflux. So today we're talking about the sense of smell. And the sense of smell, when we're dealing with acid reflux, we can kind of connect it into silent reflux. And silent reflux is a pretty interesting phenomenon that arises when you have acid reflux at night. And what ends up happening is in the morning you end up coughing a lot and having a lot of drainage. And I haven't done enough research in the mechanism to understand how the acid reflux does that, other than the fact that when you are lying down and acid leaks up, then you start to kind of breathe those acid fumes in. You don't necessarily breathe in the acid, but you kind of silently regurgitate those acid fumes, and those end up causing stuffiness in your sinuses. They also end up causing congestion in your bronchial tubes, and so for the first part of the day you end up coughing and just kind of getting gunk out. That silent reflux can cause issues with GERD, or with a change in your the tubes, the cartilage, the layers of your bronchus and your esophagus. Actually, it's your esophagus. It causes change in the cells in your esophagus, and then it just kind of causes congestion and stuffiness. So silent acid reflux is an interesting thing that medical establishment has found, that if you take your acid reflux acid blockers at night, that you don't end up with this much coughing and congestion in the morning. But remember that this is the medical model of acid reflux is opposite the alternative approach to acid reflux, which is the fact that you don't have enough acid. And so by not having enough acid, that sphincter, that cardiac sphincter, the top sphincter of your stomach, is not shutting all the way because it's not, your stomach is not acidic enough. Now, interestingly, one would argue that as you get older, you have less energy to heal. And that energy to heal could also be energy to make acid in your stomach. I went to a couple of seminars put on by a particular alternative care provider, and he talked about the fact that because you have other things to do, you do not have enough energy to put towards making acid, because your energy to heal, or your energy to stay alive, ends up getting smaller and smaller and smaller as you get older, that you do not have enough energy to keep your acid at a pH of 1. Basically, you don't have enough energy to make hydrochloric acid, because that is a very energy demanding process. Now, what that would suggest is that you have so many stressors as you get older that you don't have enough energy to make the acid that you need in order to make yourself better. So in order to help silent reflux, which ends up being a smell, congested upper respiratory smell thing, you need to have enough energy to heal so that you make your acid pH of 1, which means it shuts your sphincter and it actually causes you to not have the acid reflux. And in fact, a lot of the alternative medical models to acid reflux show that as you give acid to the system, the body digests better, the body does things better, and we end up with a spiral of improvement till you're back to making what you need. Because if you aren't digesting well, then, and you have acid reflux, you're not digesting your food as well as you should, which means that when it gets to your intestines, it is rotting and it's feeding bad bacteria, which then doesn't give you the nutrients that you need, which then causes more things and more things and more things, and you start spiraling down. By supplementing with what they usually supplement with betaine hydrochloride, which is a capsule, or which is a pill that you can, a tablet that you can take that will actually increase the acid in your stomach. You only take it when you're eating. What happens is that increased acid digests your food, which means that you don't end up fermenting in your intestines, which means your food is end up broken down more, which means you get more nutrients out of it, which means that because you got more nutrients out of it, you now have more energy, which means that you can finally get back up to the point where you actually produce enough stomach acid. So what's interesting about supplementing with something like betaine hydrochloride is that as you get healthier, you need less and less and less because your energy to heal gets higher. And because your energy to heal gets higher, that energy is now the energy to make your own hydrochloric acid, and you can start making your own hydrochloric acid and doing what you need to do. So from the alternative approach is that supplementing hydrochloric acid is not something you do all the time. You do it until the body starts correcting itself, getting more energy to heal. Do it, and you slowly back off until you eventually are producing enough acid that you need in order to heal the body. So, we kind of got off topic, but the idea being that the alternative approach to acid reflux is that you're not producing enough acid. So, anything else we can talk about in terms of the sense of smell? We can talk about, we briefly talked about those sinus points here, here, and here, and those sinus points correspond to various bladder, gallbladder, and small intestine points, stomach points. Stomach, can't remember if it's stomach or small intestine, but all of those would be points that would help with digestion and with lower digestion. So even if you have silent reflux and you have the sort of the throat clearing garbage, if you press on these points and if your sinuses are a little groggy in the morning, those will help clear those up as well as improve your digestion. All right, that is it for this week on acid reflux and the senses. Join me next week. I think I've actually already picked out the topic for next week, so let's see what I actually decided to do. Every once in a while I'm really ahead of the game, so sometimes I just do it that day. Oh, next week we're doing the scary basement. You know, you're the last one out of the basement. The lights are off and you kind of do that extra little skip to get up the steps. So we're going to talk about how the senses, how we can use our senses to distinguish between what is real and what is fake, or what is top-down fear versus bottom-up fear. All right, so I hope you join me for next week, and have a great day. Let's finish off. Take our deep breath in and release. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow.